Welcome to Two Broads and a Brit, where we like the hell of it just for the smell of it. I'm Lynn Hartridge. My co-host, Caitlin Greer.
Sup, motherfuckers? What?
And our other co-host, Lee Hazelnut Hazel.
Good afternoon. How are you?
Oh, good afternoon,
Lee.
Governor. Good afternoon. You're so fucking proper, man. I'm literally like, "Sup, what the fuck's up?" And you're like,
Good afternoon, witches. How you doing?
And toast.
Is that better?
Yeah.
Afternoon, witches. How you doing?
I like
Afternoon
it.
witches.
I like it.
Take it.
I like it.
Mhm.
Here we go. So
All right.
thanks for tuning in again, I guess. If there's anyone listening.
Is anyone
thank
left?
you.
If we've still got 24 subscribers after the last shit, we'd be happy on that. We'll stick with that. It's a bit like playing what we call pontoon. You call it something else.
I don't even know
No.
what you're talking about.
Card game.
I
You
just
go
know that it's a boat.
twist, stick. I'll stick at that. There's a card game called pontoon.
Twisting your stick?
What?
What did you say?
You're twisting a stick?
Did you fucking swear at me like that? No, there's a card, sort of sidetracking here. There's a card game called Pontoon in England, right?
Okay.
It's also called Twinner. So if you get dealt a card, and you can basically say, oh, I'll stick with what I've got, or twist means deal me another card.
Poker.
It's not really poker, it's just called 21.
Kind of like
Basically,
poker.
where I was going with this,
Sounds like poker.
bollocks,
Okay, go on.
where I was going with this is basically we could stick on 24 subscribers, or we could just say, you know what, we take that little risk, we'll do another more show and we see what we get. So,
Yeah. Never know. Maybe somebody else will want to listen to utter nothing. Just
Maybe.
nothing.
Maybe we'll get 25.
Just three turds talking about nothing.
well, you speak for yourself there, love.
Just one
You know,
turd.
I'm here to take this serious.
Two
Yeah.
turds.
I'm taking this
Nobody's-
serious, this show, I've got to
Two
say.
turds and a tit.
Nobody's ever taken me seriously in my entire life.
Well,
what-
someone married you, Caitlin. Someone married you.
True.
I had to. It was the only one who asked.
Ah.
I highly doubt that. They're lining up.
Nope.
Caitlin, please.
Most likely not.
Well, not like the
Speaking
first.
of- What?
I was going to say, not like the first show when you declared in Florida that someone actually married a Ferris machine.
They did marry a Ferris wheel. That's
Mhm.
romance. There's a
Mhm.
lot of romance.
That's right. So speaking of
So
romance,
Speaking of romance, let me tell you about the world's most romantic creep. His name is Carl Tanzler. So we're going to talk a lot about this guy.
I thought you were going to say Joe Biden.
Oh, he was so hot though, so I don't care. Young Joe Biden can get away with anything. Old Joe Biden, I don't care. Either way, no difference. So his name is Carl Tanzler. So I'm going to tell you a little bit about this guy. I'll give you some background, and then I'll tell you why I picked him to talk about him, because he's freaking cool. What a crazy pants.
And sorry to interrupt here, but I should say at this point, I don't know about you, Lee, but I don't know anything about this bloke.
Oh, I do.
Well,
I know a little bit.
So what you're telling me now is like, it's going to be a surprise.
Well,
You will be
you're
surprised.
in for a surprise.
In for a treat.
So
Yeah.
I'll just give you some background on him. So Carl Tanzler was born in 1877 in Germany. He had a fairly normal childhood, and but they said that during high school he wasn't interested in girls at all, like no interest at all. He just wanted to build little model planes.
Hmm.
That's all he wanted. He was like all
This
about,
doesn't sound German at all.
right? Girls,
Oh,
Nine.
I
nine.
won't do any homework. I'll just build a V2 rocket in the back garden.
Yeah.
Because I'm
right.
German. Because I'm German. No.
Hey, you leave Werner von Braun out of this.
So, but it was during his younger years, when he was a young man, that he started to experience some paranormal psychic events where he claims that a relative that had passed away in 1765 appeared to him in his dreams and told him that she showed him a vision of the woman that he was going to be with, like her wife. So he said that in the vision, the woman that he was shown was so beautiful that he couldn't attempt to even describe her beauty. So already he's a little bit like romantic, right? Like, come on, calm down, Carl.
Yeah.
So he, what? Okay, later on, I'm sorry, I can't follow my own extremely detailed outline because clearly I'm.
Good dream. It must have been a fantastic dream.
It was, right? Well, he continued to see her. He was in Australia at one point for a little while, and he, and I'll explain to you why he was in Australia. And he said for a full 7 days, for 24 hours, 7 days a week, she was with him.
This is the relative? The woman?
The woman, his future wife, the vision.
Okay.
Right.
So she was with him, talking to him, just singing to him, and he was talking to her, and it was just, and then after the 7 days, she was gone. And at that point, he vowed that he would see her again. One day I'll find my true love. I'll find her. So I'll give you, so that's kind of like where he started. A little more information on Carl, Mr. Tanzler, is he was a super liar. He lied a lot. He told a lot of stories that weren't true.
Nice.
He claimed
he's fucking German.
He's a German. Sorry, Germany.
Sorry.
He stated that he said he had 9 advanced degrees, and there is no proof anywhere that he even has any degree. There's no education listed really anywhere.
He got those online.
Oh, online degrees. Yes. 1877 online degrees. Those are
right. Okay.
Phoenix.
Yeah. Rise again.
Okay.
He also told people that he owned a coconut plantation near the equator. And when seriously,
I must use that line.
That's a random thing to
right?
own.
Okay. And
I'll just write that down for my next.
Yeah.
Into coconut.
That's how you impress the ladies.
Yeah.
I own a coconut plantation
near the equator.
But when people would ask, this is such a weird.
I've cracked open some milk before.
Yeah.
I've cracked open some milk before.
It was so bizarre that somebody would, when he was asked where his coconut plantation was, his response was near where Amelia Earhart's plane went down.
Oh.
Nobody knows where her plane went down. Such a weird, so he was kind of a weird guy. To describe him physically to you a little bit, he looked like a mad scientist from a movie.
Ooh.
Like he was very thin with the balding hair and those little circle glasses, and he walked with a cane, and he had he was described to have a swagger, sort of like
he was like a German in the 40s.
A German in the 40s.
I think I've said enough, Lynn, about Germans.
Done.
Don't get me started with Germans in the 40s, but he sounds like our regular member of the show, and that is Dr. Fuckernuts.
Yes, he does.
It is Dr. Fuckernuts.
He looks like a real Dr. Fuckernuts.
That is one of his degrees, in fact.
It's
he graduated from the Fuckernut University.
Sir Dr. Fuckernuts.
From coconuts to Fuckernuts.
Well, he was a count, right?
He was a count.
He was
yes.
a count.
Well,
Dr. Fuckernut's
count.
Count in quotes.
He said he was a count. So he eventually went and fought in World War I in 1914.
Oh.
And this is when he went to Australia because he was a prisoner of war, so they took him to Australia as a prisoner of war. He lied and said that he was in Australia for 15 years, but that doesn't make any sense in the timeline or anything like that, right? Like
it's his nickname Barry Bullshit or something.
Yes, that's it. Carl Barry Bullshit Tanzler. Yeah. That's actually what his listed as. When he came home from the war, he found out that his dad had died, and his childhood home, the castle, burnt down, and all of his belongings. He started telling people that his jewels and all of his library and all of that stuff were lost in the fire. There's actually no proof that he actually had any of those things. So again, why? What a fucking weirdo. He's just kind of a weirdo. So finally, go ahead.
Well, you know the show last week, spontaneous human combustion. Maybe he's suffering from spontaneous human bullshit.
I think he did. It gets worse.
I think he's got chronic human bullshit.
Chronic human bullshit. It gets a lot worse. He's definitely a super bullshitter.
Yeah.
Well, he sounds like a total sociopath. If that's
yes, that would be accurate.
And you'll hear way more about that. It gets weird.
It's fucking weird.
Things are getting really weird over here.
Can I just apologize in advance for my language when I hear these things?
Don't even worry about it. We love the language. I like to learn new British swears all the time.
Marvelous.
Because he's really getting on my tits.
That's perfect.
So
go a long way.
He's getting a little older. He's 43. He still hasn't found the love of his life. He can't find her. He hasn't seen her ever since the 7 days worth of visions. So he decides that he's going to marry someone else because it's just time. He's got to marry someone else, got to pump a few kids in her. So in 1920, at age 43, Carl married Doris Anna Schaefer. And he knew she wasn't his one true love, but he did it anyways. And they had 2 daughters. And he decided after 6 years of being married with 2 daughters, he was like, you know what? Not for me.
Okay.
He packed up his shit and moved from Germany to Zephyr Hills, Florida.
Because
fucking Florida again, isn't it?
Fucking Florida.
And now he's attacking people with slices of pizza.
Not yet.
No.
There's no pizza in this story.
And now he's married a Ferris wheel, or
Right. So his sister had moved to Zephyr Hills, Florida, and so he moved with her, and he left his family.
Nice.
He left them, telling him he would tell them that he was going to make enough money to bring them over.
Of course.
Jokes on him. A year later, they came over. They followed him over.
That's amazing.
And he didn't like that at all. So he left again.
No.
He left again, and he moved to Key West. So he went south.
Okay.
To Key West. Yep. He gave his family the slip. He was like, you know what? God damn it. Get the fuck off me, woman. Like, you're not the one.
I mean, I can't believe they followed the fucking twat to begin with.
Right? Well, I mean,
she's like, motherfucker, I've got 2 kids to take care of.
Yeah.
You think you're going to give me the slip?
It's the 20s. I'll give it to him, though. Even though he left them, he did regularly send them money.
Okay.
For a while.
For
a while.
For a week. Yeah.
A full week.
Yeah.
He also did, we mentioned this for like a teeny tiny blip, but when he moved to America, he changed his name from being spelled with a K to a C because he wanted to Americanize his Carl.
You don't want to be Carl.
And even though he wanted to Americanize himself, he wanted people to call him Count Dr. Carl von Korsel because he has more names than the fucking mother of dragons. And I know you guys
wanker.
Grown, but everyone else does. Okay. So it's literally I can't. Not only is he claiming he's a count, he now starts telling people he's a doctor.
Right.
He's neither of those things. There's literally nothing that says that he's any of those things.
But this is the 20s, so he can just bullshit his way into
it. Yeah, because nobody has the time to go there's no resources to find out. So, and he's super cocky, so he can do it. He can really kind of, because he's like arrogance.
Just pulls it off.
And America let this guy in the first place. That's a marvelous endorsement for the TSA.
There was no TSA in the 20s.
I'm joking.
I know.
Do you want to come in, mate? Yeah, you're a compulsive bullshitter. Yeah, you've lied about everything in your life. There's a home for you here.
Yeah,
do you want to be president of the United States?
Fit right in.
Yeah, you'll fit right in. No one will ever know. Yeah.
No motherfuck. So this fucker moves to Key West, and then he starts looking for jobs, and he starts looking for jobs as a doctor because he just walks into hospitals and says, "Hey, I'm a doctor."
I'm a doctor.
Yeah.
And,
no Dunkin' Donuts jobs back then, no.
No.
Right.
No.
Not yet. It had not arrived yet. So he had no credentials. and the hospitals had nothing to verify his claims. So one hospital did, however, hire him as an attendant, and he took the job. So clearly he's a doctor, because real doctors would be like, yeah, that's cool, I'll be an attendant.
Yeah.
And but he did work his ass off, and he worked his way all the way up to becoming a radiologist.
Wow.
So he started to work in the radiology department, and then I don't know what that was, but it was my segue music
theme song.
Carl Tanzler, he's a weirdo.
It's gonna be another musical episode, folks. Let's wrap in.
Hate myself. So then the day happens. The day happens where Carl finally meets the one. Enter Maria Elena Milagro de Hoyos.
What?
I'm not saying the full name again.
Ay, ay, ay.
Her name, we'll call her Elena. So
where's she from then?
So she's originally from, her family's Cuban. So she's Cuban American. So she's from Florida. They met at the hospital. She had all of the features as the woman in his visions. He was immediately taken with her, and he stated, I looked into the face of an unearthly beauty, the face of my bride that had been promised to me by my ancestor. And just like that, he was immediately obsessed, over the moon. He just couldn't get enough. Two things. She was already married. Her husband had abandoned her, but she was still married, and it was
in paper. Yeah.
Right. Yeah. So it is, you can't really. And she had tuberculosis, and
that's
not
good, is it?
Yeah, no. And it wasn't really like the curable, like she had like the real bad kind of tuberculosis.
Yeah.
So that's why she was at the hospital. The one-sided romance began immediately as Carl stopped sending his family money. The second he met her, he was done, and began to focus solely on Elena. He talked to her family and promised them that he kept promising them that he could cure her.
Right, because he's a doctor.
Yeah, because he's a doctor.
He's lied about everything in his life, and now he thinks he can cure someone with TB. Yeah.
Right.
I'm beginning to like this guy.
You're gonna love him.
No.
He tried to cure her by giving her radiation treatments to build up her strength.
What?
Because that's how that works. That works like that, right?
Right. That's what all the doctors say.
He was giving those treatments away for free because, giving them the old family discount. Wanted to get in. Yeah. It's really good.
Just to jump in here, how old is she? So he's now 43?
You know what? I don't know how old she was.
I don't know. I'm just quite
really big age difference.
I'm assuming there's a big age difference, and I'll look it up. All right, Lynn's gonna look it up.
Don't worry, I was just quite curious. I'm just sort of
it's a good bit of information that I should have in my elaborately outlined documents that I don't, because I clearly suck.
Because if she's got tuberculosis, I mean, I don't know how old people were when they got that back then.
It was an epidemic, so there was a lot of people with it happening. So but did you? Oh no,
I'm still looking up. Sorry,
okay.
My phone's just moving slowly. I will find it.
So Carl was like really aggressive with her family, and he would like show up at the house and demand that they not smoke around her, and demand like all of these things, which is valid. I mean, she had tuberculosis.
Right.
But at the same time, he was just trying to woo her. He would refer to their time at the hospital when she was getting her treatments as like dates. He would talk about it as if they were like going on dates.
Right.
They were not. She was not interested at all, but she was very polite, and he was trying to help her, so she wanted the help. So she took the help.
Yeah.
It basically was a cock tease.
Yeah, she rolled along with it to basically just I'll just turn up, get a bit of medication, listen to this prick for half hour, and then I'll just fuck her off. Yeah, but he thought it was a romantic thing. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yes, he was over the moon in love. He started to shower her with gifts, clothing and jewelry and radios, and And at the time, that stuff was crazy. And I think he even bought her a new bed, and she accepted them all, and then, but always had an excuse as to why she was never going to go any further. You know, she was still married, she was sick, all of those things. She would give him all of those excuses. So she eventually got so sick she couldn't make it to the hospital anymore to get treatments.
Right.
So Carl decided to bring a transformer into her home and treat her with all sorts of electroshock therapy.
I bet he did.
He even went as far as to take a Tesla coil and put it in her mouth, into her, so it touched the back of her throat, and set that baby on so he could try and shock the tuberculosis right out.
God.
That's a shocking discovery.
Yeah, I mean, God, I mean, he's a bit of a charmer, this guy, isn't he? So
He's trying. He's
Wow.
trying
I mean,
really hard.
he's basically upping his game. He's
Yeah, he definitely.
he's upping his game. He's gone
Upping the voltage.
He's up.
Yeah. I mean, he's basically saying right now, close your eyes. I'm just going to pop something in your mouth. Honestly, trust me, I'm a doctor.
It's a warm knob.
Yeah, all right.
Open up and say ah. That's how that went.
Well, I did, just a quick side note. I did find, I don't know how old they were, each of them was when they met, but he was born in 1877.
Yeah.
She was born in 1909. So there's like, what is
32
that? 32 years.
Yeah.
32-year gap then.
So that's
Blimey, that's a big gap.
So she was young. She was very young.
Yeah.
So she, unfortunately, the electricity didn't save her.
That is shocking.
Shocking. And
Well,
she died.
We didn't save Ted Bundy either, unfortunately.
No, but it saved a lot of other people. She died in 1931. And before she passed away, she did tell Carl, she said, take care of my body, because she couldn't leave him anything else. Okay.
Right. That's an odd request.
The quote, exactly, to quote her, it says, take care of my body. Oh, take care. She wanted him to take care of her body after she died because she couldn't leave him anything else. That's exactly what she said to him.
Yeah.
And he did. He stepped up. He insisted on paying for her funeral. He made all the arrangements, and he visited her grave every night. Yeah, he did every night. He was committed. He loved her. He loved her so much, and she loved her this much. Okay, she was originally buried, and he felt that he got very concerned that she was going to get wet from the casket. So he had her exhumed and paid for a mausoleum to be built so she could rest above ground. Thoughtful.
Yeah.
Right?
Okay.
He also convinced the undertaker during that period of time to let him rebed the casket, and he took it upon himself to peel off her clothing, spray her with perfume, and cover the body with a sterile cotton.
I bet that's not the only thing he sprayed on her.
Yes.
Sorry.
He was trying to preserve her.
Yeah.
With
Yeah, because this is all normal behaviour, isn't it?
Right, totally.
Well, it gets worse.
Well, it's normal in America, so
in Florida.
Yeah.
Well, in Florida, yeah. A Florida man has
dug up his ex-girlfriend and gave her a new dress. News at 8. I don't know what time the news is on. So he also had these custom valves put into her coffin. It was like a metal coffin so he could pour a solution over her that would be comparable to that of like a solution that preserves things in jars.
Like
so
a formaldehyde.
Like a formaldehyde, but I'm not sure if it was actually formaldehyde.
Yeah.
So he was essentially going there every day, making sure that he was pouring formaldehyde into this coffin to keep her alive. He continued to visit her every night for 2 years.
Blimey.
Claims
Get out a bit more,
that
doesn't he?
he was getting out. He was getting out.
Well, he is getting out, but you know, you need to get out a bit more, you know.
Right.
Yeah.
I know. I know.
A few of us are going to Starbucks after work, Carl, if you want to join us. Not really. I've got a bit more formaldehyde to pump into her. So
Right.
Yeah.
Right. I gotta go.
I'll be off. You know,
Right.
I'll join you afterwards. Honest. Yeah.
All right. So during his nightly visits, he began to hear her talking to him. So he started to say that she was talking to him and she was singing him Spanish love songs. And he even claimed that during one Christmas visit that he felt her hands on his head and face.
I'm sure
So
he did.
he was going crazy. So, then you know what dead bodies tell you after a while? They say, you know what? Can you take me out of here? I don't want to be in here anymore.
Yeah.
It's cramping my style.
So he was the only one, because he had the mausoleum built, he was the only one who had a key to it.
I was going to say, what does the bloke who owns the cemetery gates think of all this?
He's just visiting his
He's
loved
just-
one.
yeah.
Just
Oh, yeah.
talking
Yeah,
and,
Carl, it's 11 o'clock at night. I think you really should go home now. You know,
right? Right?
I need to
Now
look
it's
up.
time to close up.
We go through this same charade every fucking night, Carl. Yeah. I'll tell you what, Carl. I'll get you a set of keys of your own. Hey, how about that?
Just to her mausoleum. Just to her.
Just to hers.
So
Yeah.
even her family couldn't get in there. It was just him. But
But
yes.
he's still got to get in the cemetery to begin with,
I
isn't he?
think it was open. I think it was
Oh,
just
okay.
open. It wasn't like a locked up cemetery. But maybe it was, and he was just hopping the fence because he's a spry old man.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Is that the right word?
It is, yeah.
Cool.
He's a spry fella.
I love English. So eventually, this singing, head-touching ghost
Head touching.
told him, head touching, if you know what I mean.
I'm saying nothing.
So she gave him explicit instructions on how to remove her body so he could better care for her.
I like how this
And-
all comes from her.
Yes.
Yeah, I mean, I'm assuming this is what he's told the judge.
Right.
Right.
Yes, of
Yeah.
course. Yeah.
We'll get to that.
Crazy. This
So,
has all come from her.
I mean, when your ghost girlfriend tells you to take her body out of where it is, you take her body out of where it is.
You do what you
You
gotta
do
do.
what she asks, don't you?
Yeah. Yeah.
So this motherfucker rented a house, took her body out. He brought her to the house and he left her there for 3 days.
And no one saw him taking a dead body home. Well,
She was in the coffin still, so she wasn't like,
So he carried the whole coffin to her.
he had
his
it
house?
like he had like something to move it on.
No.
I think at one point he was trying to get it over a fence and like all the stuff that he had been pouring on her like got all over him.
Yeah.
During this time, he was actually living with her parents. He was renting a room from her parents.
Yeah.
And he took her body out, put it in this house that he rented, and then went back to her parents' house to wash off all the gross smells of their daughter's dead body.
Nice.
So he's a
That's
class
nice.
act.
Yeah.
He's a class act. This is a true act of love and devotion.
Indeed.
Well, we've all been
So
there.
he
We've all done this.
Yet again, another
You know
clue.
what I keep having visions of. I'll keep having visions of when he's taken her out the what do you call it? The mausoleum.
the mausoleum. Mhm.
Mausoleum, right? So he's got her in a coffin. So he's thought, right, I've now got to get her home. Okay, my car's just outside the graveyard gates. Okay, I've clambered over to begin with. So he's obviously brought a step ladder or something with him. So he's climbing on the step ladder to get her out of the fence. So all he needs is a passerby on the other side of the fence. So, excuse me, mate, Timmy, you can really help me out here. I'm trying to get this
Lend me
coffin
a hand.
over. If you can just hold it while I clamber over, it would be a help, you know. Then you can go
So-
back and visit. I just, yeah.
Hold that thought, because that happens in the future. That does actually happen. We'll get to that. He had been in his spare time restoring an old plane from World War I. So he felt that he kept on the hospital grounds that he worked on. They allowed him to keep it there. So he felt the best place to take his beloved girlfriend's body was to the plane.
Sensible.
So he brought her decayed body into the plane, removed her clothes, washed her, applied perfume to her, and then, are you ready? Are you ready?
No.
He replaced her eyes with glass ones.
Ugh.
Oh, right, okay.
That's just number one.
Popped him right out.
Well, her eyes it's been 2 years, so her
so
eyes were like
gross.
essentially gone.
Yeah,
They were
yeah.
decayed. He used wire hangers to keep her body together, like her skeletal system together.
Right.
And so it was also flexible because it was wire.
Nice. Wanted to move.
He created a wig from her own hair that had decayed off of her head, so he could keep her natural hair, because God forbid she has to have a weave.
I mean, in
the time of leave.
In fairness to him, he's put in a lot of effort for this.
It's more. He loves her. He does. He really does love her.
Yeah.
And he also
He can also be mentally disturbed as well, but
yes,
Clearly.
a little bit.
Yeah.
But sometimes love is crazy.
Love conquers all. Yes.
Does it?
So,
He also stuffed her body cavities with rags and replaced her skin with a wax-coated fabric and plaster. And then he put the bitch in a bridal gown, because you know what? You need her to be in her fancies.
Right. If you can't make it even creepier.
yeah.
Stick her in a bridal gown.
Yeah, and guys, he would lay with her every night. He would go into the plane and lay with her, because she was still in the plane while he did all of this. It was a big plane. And
Well, he's interested in her cockpit.
Well.
Yes. Yes, he was.
I bet he was.
You mean, yes. So she was in that plane for months. He kept her in that plane for months.
And nobody smelled this?
It was an old World War II plane outside. Like, nobody even went near it.
Oh, God. But still.
But after months, hospital staff kind of transferred over, and the new bosses were like, you know what? You got to get that fucking plane out of here, bro.
Right. It's a hospital.
This is a hospital. This isn't a plane graveyard or whatever they call it.
Yeah.
And so he had the plane towed to a nearby house.
With her still in it.
With her still in it. She was still in it.
She went for a little ride that day.
And
you might want to buckle
really
up.
flying.
Your in-flight movie is
Right?
Corpse Bride.
But nice job. Yeah, they moved her to a different house. He rented a different house, and he actually in that house built an incubation tank, and he would put her body in it. It was full of like the same preservation fluids.
Nice.
Would put her body in it for 24-hour periods. Some people think that he was trying to bring her back from the dead. He was doing some experiments and stuff like that. So he was trying to bring her back from the dead, but he was also preserving her while he was doing all of that.
Yeah. A German doing experiments. Whatever next.
Sounds vaguely familiar.
I know nothing of what you speak of.
What could possibly go wrong?
Next time. No.
Right.
So he would spend holidays with her body like she was alive. He would even go as far as to sometimes when they were like having a date night, he would drink wine, but then he would press his mouth to her mouth and spit it into her mouth. So she wanted to share.
Right.
So sharing is caring, guys.
Right.
I don't even want to share with my alive spouse. I do not, let alone.
I mean, he could have just taken her to KFC, couldn't he? Instead, you get
Right?
romantic bargain bucket for two.
Right?
Know.
Seriously.
Yeah. Ironically, she probably smells better than the KFC bargain bucket, but.
Sorry, KFC.
No, fuck KFC.
Yeah.
Fuck KFC. They know. They know.
I know.
They know.
I mean, by this time, she must have absolutely fucking reeked.
Yeah, and he did a lot of stuff to like preserve her, but I'm sure she was a stinky bitch. Yeah.
Yeah.
Ugh. What's that smell? Oh, that's my girlfriend.
Yeah.
So that house that they stayed there for a few years. There was no like definitive. So they stayed there for a few years. I say they because, you know, she was there.
Sure.
Yeah.
It was condemned. The home was condemned at some point. So he had to move her. So he loaded her back up into the plane and had it towed to a new home. He put her back in the plane.
Well,
Nice.
The kid is back on the escalator again. He put her in the plane.
Yeah.
He unfortunately couldn't move the incubation tank. So her body started to decay a lot faster, but he also moved her into his bed so he could sleep by her side to be close to her and protect her from bugs.
Oh.
I'm going to backtrack for a second because this is the move where somebody actually helped him move the box. I think this was the move. It was either this one or it might have been the first one.
Yeah.
Somebody actually helped him move the coffin because they didn't know what was in it. It was just a metal box. So they helped him. He was like, "Hey, can you help me with this?" And they helped him.
It's just an extra large toolbox. Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm doing some work on my horse and cart back there. I mean,
Right.
it's gonna take me all night. I've got all my tools in here. You know,
Right.
honest.
No.
Did you hear that?
So she, because she was like, you know, had the bug problem, he decided that he was going to coat her body in a layer of wax to try and protect her from the bugs. And she kind of started because he didn't have the tank anymore. She began to mummify.
Mm.
So
Right.
that was a thing.
That was a thing.
She began to mummify. Shockingly, Carl loses his job at the hospital.
They finally figured out he wasn't a doctor.
He wasn't a doctor.
Yeah.
You're not a doctor. We replace him with Dr. Fuckernuts. He was okay with it though. He was totally cool with losing his job because it gave him more time to spend with his beloved.
Yeah.
Really like very much so into spending a lot of time with her. And during this time he began to kind of become a shut-in because he didn't want to leave her. He just wanted to stay with her all the time. So he only left the house like once a month to go to get food and supplies and the mail and go get mail from the post office or whatever.
Yeah.
So 5 years later,
No.
this motherfucker, her only remaining family member, the rest of her family had also died from tuberculosis. They all just fucking kicked the bucket. So she had a sister, and her sister's name is Nana. Can we not?
Nana.
So Nana comes out of the woodwork like a million years later and she starts to hear rumors that Elena was no longer in her mausoleum. I have no clue where the rumors came from.
It's that cemetery caretaker.
Right? He finds it's like at the bar.
It could be the bloke who works at the cemetery, but
You're never gonna fucking believe this one.
Right.
Listen up.
Right.
Dr. Fucking Nuts, you removed her. You're out.
So she starts to demand, because he's the only one that has the key. So she starts to demand that he unlock the mausoleum so she can see her sister. She wants to see her.
Yeah. And now he's lost the key. Yeah.
He clearly.
I don't know where I left it, mate. Yeah.
Right? So he says, "Nah, I'm not going to do that. I don't think so."
Yeah.
So she goes to his house. She showed up at his house. Nana was not fucking around. She's like, "I want to see my sister." So he was like, "All right.
Come on in."
Cool."
She doesn't look her best right now.
Seriously, he lets her in the house, and he like pulls, if you want to call it a house, it was more like a shack. He like pulled back a curtain that was hiding his bed area, and there was her body and he showed her sister the body, and like it was nothing. It was literally like it was nothing. And her sister tried to bargain with him. What? Yeah. She said, "If you put the body back, I won't tell anybody. I won't tell anybody what you've done. I won't, just put the body back." He did not.
As you do, because we've all been in this situation, clearly, haven't we?
Yeah.
I mean, it's so right, isn't it? Yeah.
Right. So he didn't put the body back. So the cops came later that day, that same day.
Again, Nana wasn't messing around.
Nana said, "Fuck you, bitch," and I'm calling the po-po. And she called the police. And 70-year-old Carl was arrested that day. Florida man arrested for keeping dead corpse in his house for 8 years.
Yeah.
He was charged with being in possession of a dead body and maliciously demolishing and disfiguring a grave. Her body was then put on display at a funeral home where over 5,000 people came to see it. They kept her body on display. Like, put this bitch in the ground. Like, give her some.
I mean, it'd be easier to just fucking cremate the thing, wouldn't it? I mean, just say, right, just
put her back.
Yeah, well, just cremate her, and then he can't do it anymore, can he?
Yeah. Right.
So, you know. Oh, here's your ashes, Carl.
Right.
Well, do that with what you will.
Stick your dick in this, buddy.
You're free to do whatever you want with that. Snort it up your nose for a week.
Right. You want to wet your whistle?
Yeah.
Well, this is kind of dry, so good luck.
Yeah.
So before he went to trial, the press caught wind of the story and it kind of blew up. But they romanticized it. So people became fans of his, and he started to get fan mail and receiving letters and money, and he got all this stuff. He was like a real.
It's like he's now the latest guest on David Letterman. Is Carl Tanzler. It's like,
Tanzler, ladies man extraordinaire.
Tonight we have Carl Tanzler. He's going to show us how to replace your woman's eyes with glass ones. Yes. So that was a thing. And then eventually he went to court. Nana testified how horrifying it was to see her sister like that, and the appearance of the corpse and all that stuff. And he testified about his visions and searching the world for his true love. And that, honestly, it said that his testimony brought the women in the courtroom to tears.
God.
Ladies, can we up our standards a little?
Right.
Can we just please take a second and have some respect?
Well, I just don't want to sidetrack here, Caitlin, but I don't know if you've watched the Ted Bundy tapes on Netflix.
Yes.
Now, what is there an abundance of in the courtroom?
Ladies. He was a ladies' man.
Yeah. So he had his own fan club, fan mail, try and slip him notes and sort of that. It's obviously like a running theme, isn't it?
Right. Well, ladies love danger.
Yeah. This is the thing. Like my teenage daughter was telling me that there are websites where they, of course, the people she sees on them are also teenagers, stupid teenagers, but they're talking about how hot these like mass shooters are or serial killers.
Yes.
Like, it's a whole like weird.
Yes.
Yeah.
God. One of the Menendez brothers has a wife. He married a woman post being in jail.
I mean, I've seen programs on the telly where British women are dating American men on death row.
Yeah.
Right. So there's this one fucking mad bent on there. This guy's got his execution date. Right. They're going to basically put him in a chair and put needles in him. Right. So she goes over there. And anyway, the state ends up executing him. Right.
Yeah.
So, and she comes out in floods of tears and all that. And then about half hour later in the program, she's dating the bloke in the next cell.
She just loves a man in stripes.
Right.
So the bloke in the next cell would think, you know what? I fancy a bit of this and all. I mean, with him out of the way, he's not going to stop me. He's out of the way now. I think I'm going to move in with her. You know. So she's now dating him. So she's just gone from fucking cell to cell.
Down the line.
That's crazy.
Yeah, and they got married. There's photos of them, their wedding and stuff like that. And yeah, it's all go. It's all yeah.
So people are nuts. People are nuts.
Obviously, she can't find a British man. So she's. I'll tell you where there's an abundance of available men.
No.
Death row in fucking Indiana or wherever the fuck it was.
Texas.
They're very grateful.
Yeah. They'll take anything.
Mm-hmm.
Well, clearly, yeah.
So now the court decides that they're not going to prosecute.
What?
Yes.
Oh,
They don't prosecute because the 2-year statute of limitations for disturbing a grave was long past due.
it seems like there should be more than just disturbing a grave.
Because she was removed from her grave 7 years. She was
Ugh.
7. It was like between 7 and 8 years that she was
Just out and about.
out hanging out with Carl. Good old Carl.
Put her on display. So how could they
Well,
say?
the state, they didn't, I don't know exactly how that happened, but they finally, Nana requested that her sister's remains be buried at a secret location. And they are. She's buried in an unmarked grave somewhere secretively, and nobody knows where she was. And Carl was pissed.
I bet.
Pissed. He was super mad.
I bet the cemetery authorities just said, for fuck's sakes, don't tell Carl.
Yeah,
Just
just
we've had
don't
enough
tell
of him. We have had enough of him. Don't fucking tell him.
Right?
Yeah.
So he
Fuck.
tried to take advantage of the public adoration that he was getting to make some money. And he charged 25 cents for people to come to his house and view his lab,
Ugh.
where
Okay.
he had created a replica. Oh wait, no, this wasn't the replica. Sorry, my bad. I lied to you. But that didn't work out for him. He wasn't a fan of having all the people around all the time. So he scurried on back to live with his sister again. And but before he did that, he decided, you know what I'm gonna do? I'm gonna blow up that fucking mausoleum.
Yeah.
So
nice.
so he planted a bomb and blew up the fucking mausoleum.
Oh my
And he
God.
couldn't be charged for that because there was by the time he set a timer on the bomb for 24 hours.
Mhm.
So by the time the bomb actually exploded, he was back in Zephyr Hills. So he was already too far away to be at the scene of the crime when the crime occurred.
And the ironic thing,
Clever girl.
the ironic thing about that story is that explosion probably could have woken the dead.
Hey, there it is.
Billy Hazel's dad joke of the day.
No, that's Caitlin's. Whenever I crack a shit joke, Caitlin always does this slow hand.
Slow clap.
The slow clap.
I like
Yeah.
it.
Yeah.
I like it. That's my
So that's a fantastic story. That's well done, Caitlin. That's brilliant. That's
There's
brilliant.
more.
Yeah.
There's more. Little bit more, but there's more. And then we'll get into it. So he moved back to Zephyr Hills, he moved into his own house and he built a replica of her body and put it in a casket on a table. And people would still come visit him in the casket and the replica. And in 1952, police found his decomposing corpse next to her replica. At the age of 76, he died next to her on the ground. It was later discovered. This is the grossest part, because during all of the original stuff, they said that he couldn't possibly have sex with the body because of how much it had decayed and like mummified and deteriorated and all that stuff.
I bet he had a bloody good go though. Yeah.
Well, he rigged it so he could have sex with the body. He had in 1972, the original doctor who performed her autopsy came out and talked about it. And he said that he had found a tube had been inserted into her vaginal area that was wide enough to allow sexual intercourse with cotton at the back of it that was full of semen. So he was a corpse fucker.
So at her opening, he probably put a ring donut there as well.
I don't think it was that big. You're giving him some credit.
Yeah, well,
I don't think Carl Tanzler had like a hog for days.
yeah.
I think if he was gifted in the pants, he wouldn't be fucking a corpse. He would be like giving gift to live women.
Well, there is that. Yeah.
So that's my man. That's the guy. That's the brief story of the romantic Carl Tanzler.
That's fantastic. Well, it's not fantastic, is it? But I mean,
It is.
that is absolutely. Well, it's not really. You can't. But I mean, who said romance is dead?
Right.
No pun intended. No pun intended. But I mean, I mean, you've got to admire the bloke, to be honest. I mean, you know, I mean, there's plenty of alive women out there. He's thought, you know what, I can't be fagged with all that. You know, she's the one for me. She's smelling more by the day. She's decaying, you know, but that's not deterring him. So,
Still,
yeah,
bugs
I
and
mean,
all.
yeah, I mean, yeah,
I can't
I
even
like the
get her
fact
to
that
like me while I'm alive.
I like, I like the fact that that his sister, she's cottoned on to the fact that, you know, there's a body missing.
Yeah.
And she just goes storming around his house and says,
story
"Oh, you know, come on in. You know, yes, I have got your sister. Why are you here? Do you want to stay for a cup of tea and a bun?"
Come on,
Isn't that crazy?
It's just, it's bizarre story.
It's so fucking wild, right? I was like searching for something to talk about when I came across this. I'll post the picture on our Facebook because the picture of what her corpse looks like is fucking insane. It's just
not pretty.
It's not fuckable.
No.
It's not. He must have to flip her over. 'Cause that face.
like there's a corpse out there that is fuckable.
I haven't met it yet, but I'm still looking for my one.
Yeah. I mean, you wouldn't want to fuck that corpse. That corpse you would, but not that one. Yeah.
I mean, there might be a prettier corpse out there. When you see this thing, man.
Yeah, it's not. It's like
Yeah.
It looks like a melted Barbie doll.
It does. Yeah, that's a good way to describe it. Like
I mean, there are. I mean, Ted Bundy admitted in the end that he was doing necrophilia.
Yeah.
So it goes. Yeah, he was. But to be fair to Carl, he didn't kill.
He didn't kill her.
No, the test.
No, so you know, he was just, you know.
He just electrocuted her a little bit.
Just tortured her.
Gave her some radiation poisoning and just, you know, he
zapped her.
Yeah.
But
It's a brilliant story.
Isn't it crazy?
Thank you so much for sharing it.
It blows my mind that like he was never prosecuted for anything.
He got away with it. Because I mean, really, honestly, like he didn't really hurt anyone per se.
Yeah, this is what I was saying. I mean, you know, no harm done at the end of the day. You know, we've all got little hobbies, haven't we? Some of us like Netflix.
Hobbies.
You know, you got Netflix, you can go to Starbucks or whatever, you know, you can read a book on your Kindle or you can go and fuck a corpse. I mean, we've all got little interests.
Whatever floats your boat.
Exactly. I mean, yeah.
Lee's okay with this.
Well,
that's why he lives in front of a graveyard.
I've got a graveyard 10 feet from where I'm sat, you know.
He has a cemetery behind his house, just so everyone knows. And now we know why.
To add on that, I've got, jokes aside, when young Sophie came to visit me, I said, "Oh, you must meet Louisa." And she looked at me a little bit funny. And because you've seen the pictures of my house, now outside my back gate, literally 6 feet from the back gate is a grave. And her name, the lady, it's Louise, I think, not Louisa, I'll tell a lie, Louise. And she's died in 1925, and it's just a big prominent grave right outside my gate, literally 6 feet. So when Sophie come over for the first time, I said, "Oh, you have to go and meet Louise." It's just, you know, so we went, you know, as if it's a neighbour. But yeah, I said, so she stood by her grave and was reading the file. I said, "No, she's not in there. She's actually in my freezer. You won't find her there."
I knew it.
You know.
I knew it.
More evidence.
But so there is. I've got an abundance of corpses just outside the back gate, so it doesn't put me off. I mean, I've heard all the jokes, and you know, they're they're what?
The neighbors are quiet.
Yeah, well, they're down to the skeleton staff down there. They really are. I mean, it's just...
I hear it's a little dead around there at night.
Yeah.
Oh my. Well, that about wraps it up, right? That's it. So that's the tale of the romantic Carl Tanzler and his corpse fucking self.
That's a lot of pressure now on me and Lynn to follow that.
What?
That's a marvelous story. Eh?
Google.
Just Google it. It's fine.
So
There's
just-
plenty of fucked up people in the world.
I'm actually getting into your mind now, Caitlin, because you're like, well, I'll tell you what should I do to talk on the show? I know, at the top of my head, I'll just go and Google and just put, who fucks dead corpses?
No!
Right.
Corpsefuckers.com.
Right. Yeah.
Necrophilia.com.org.
They call that plenty of fish over here.
Yeah. Gross. Plenty of corpses.
Plenty of-
So per usual, thanks everyone for listening,
Thank you.
or watching, or whatever it is that you're doing to just kill your brain cells on a daily basis. Tell your friends about us.
Yes.
Check us out, YouTube, SoundCloud. Don't forget to like, subscribe, follow, share it. Yeah, share it. If you like it,
is caring.
share it. Just please, somebody like us.
Someone else subscribe.
Somebody do it. And if you don't, well, I'll tell you what to do. You can just go fuck yourself.
Right, are we done? You can piss off out of it. The fucking.
I love it.
I swiped right for her on Tinder.
For this
No.
girl, she looks like she gives good head.
Well, fucking hell.